For her wedding, I gave my sister the deed to a $320,000 paid-off condo. She raised it, guffawed, declaring, "Bad zone. I won't live in that low-end area." Before 180 guests. I smiled, seized her Audi, stopped all rent transfers, demanding every cent she was due. The next morning, a white envelope lay at my doorstep. What if the biggest act of love you ever gave wasn't enough? What if it was thrown back in your face, publicly shamed, turning every sacrifice you'd ever made into a cruel joke? That's what happened at my sister's wedding, and it changed absolutely everything. My name is Robert. I'm 36, a general surgeon. And yes, I'm the oldest kid, the emergency contact for everyone, the guy who answers the phone even when I'm scrubbed in. I live 3 blocks from the hospital because I'm always on call. My coffee? It's always cold by the time I get to it. I've paid more family bills than I can even remember, always telling myself it was love, not some kind of weakness. Then there's my sister, Naomi. She's 28. Beautiful, loud, magnetic. The kind of person who orders a latte, takes one sip, and sends it back with a smile, so dazzling the barista actually apologizes for existing. My parents? They call her sensitive. What they really mean is the rules just don't apply to her. Her wedding was a Saturday in June. 180 guests, a string quartet, a donut wall. I arrived late, of course, because a cholecystectomy went sideways and a patient needed me in PACU. Still, I made it in time for photos. My tie was crooked, and there was chlorhexidine on my sleeve. The photographer told me to relax my shoulders. I tried. I had a gift for Naomi. A cream envelope, tucked inside a black folio. Not cash. Not a check. It was the deed to a fully paid, $320,000 condo. 2 bedrooms, a really safe building, just 10 minutes from the hospital. I'd closed on it 2 weeks earlier. I didn't wrap it because, honestly, I didn't think a house needed a bow. At the reception, the DJ cut the music. The MC, with a big smile, announced, "We'll start with a special gift from the bride's brother." My heart thumped, but I felt a quiet pride as I stood up. I walked to the mic, looked out at all 180 faces, and handed Naomi the folio. My hands didn't shake. I was so damn proud of that. She slid the deed out, her eyes scanning the address. Before the hush in the room had even settled, she tilted the paper toward the chandelier, a high, mocking laugh bubbling up from her throat. Then she said, right into the mic, "Wrong area. I'm not living in that cheap part of town." And people, they laughed with her, like she'd just told the funniest joke. My mother pressed her lips together, trying to hide a smile. My father just stared into his glass. Evan, the groom, looked down at his shoes. I felt this inferno of heat climb my neck, stopping right behind my eyes. Someone whispered, "Awkward." Naomi lifted the deed higher, holding it between 2 fingers like it was a napkin with a stain. "Rob," she said louder now. "Was this supposed to be sweet?" I swallowed. The room was waiting. The string quartet adjusted sheets of music that definitely weren't needed for this scene. "Naomi," I managed, trying to keep my voice absolutely flat. "Congratulations." She actually rolled her eyes, handing the deed back to me like it might smudge her manicure. "Next time," she sneered, "ask." The DJ coughed into his elbow. The MC mumbled, "So speeches?" And the room just moved on. Because rooms always do. I sat down. My chair scraped too loud on the polished floor, but I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because a switch inside me, one I didn't even know existed, had just clicked into place. Here's what nobody in that room knew, unless they were on our family group chat at 2 a.m. When Naomi dropped out of her second grad program, I covered her last semester's balance so it wouldn't go to collections. When her first apartment flooded because she forgot to turn off the bathtub, I paid the deductible. When she signed a lease she couldn't afford, I set up a recurring transfer, $2,150 on the first of every month, labeled rent, temporary for 2 years. I bought her an Audi 3 summers ago. She called me, crying, on my way to my post-call nap. "It's unsafe to drive the Civic," she sobbed. "And Evan says image matters in real estate." I put $20,000 down, kept the loan in my name because she couldn't get approved, and added her to my insurance. 3 months later, she crashed it into a parking lot pillar. "The pillar jumped," she laughed. "I just increased the coverage." I paid for her braces when she decided her smile was her brand. I paid for a crown when she bit a cherry pit. I covered her phone after she dropped it off a boat. She used to call me my human ATM. She thought it was cute. I laughed too back then. It was easier than explaining how many 2 a.m. appendixes it took to be her ATM. My parents? They helped with words. "We raised you to be generous." My mother would say, "God gave you hands for a reason." What she meant was, the bill goes to the oldest. When I pushed back, she'd sigh, "You're a surgeon, Robert. Money comes back." But when Naomi pushed back, oh, she's still finding herself. I have a photo on my phone. My hand on the scrub sink faucet at 4:41 a.m. The caption in my head read, "Still finding myself." I never sent it. Evan, the groom, once told me over beers that he and Naomi had a vision board. A house in the hills, an outdoor kitchen, a golden retriever wearing a bandana. When I asked about saving for a down payment, Naomi just waved dismissively at the board. Details are the universe's job. My universe is called schedules, bowel perforations, and kids with belly pain that is nothing, and then it's everything. My universe is writing notes at midnight, putting in a chest tube at 2 a.m., and hearing my name mispronounced by an attending who trained me and still forgets it. My universe is that tiny, quiet moment when a patient squeezes my fingers coming out of anesthesia, and I think, okay, this is why. And then my phone buzzes. Rob, can you Zelle me $580? My commission falls next week, but my boss is being a tyrant. Or, Rob, need $300 for flower wall deposit. Promise I'll pay you after closing. Or from my mother, we're short for the caterer. You'll cover. No question mark. If you ask how this started, it started the way these things always do. One small favor, then another. Then everyone forgets where the line was. Then your sister sends you a link to a wedding venue and asks, as if she's offering you a treat, do you want to sponsor something nice? Sponsor? Like I'm a brand. 3 months before the wedding, Naomi came over with a Pinterest board and a muffin she didn't eat. I want to live near the action, she said, opening her laptop. But until then, we'll stay in the rental. Can you just keep the rent going? And we need a car upgrade before the honeymoon road trip. The Q8 has massage seats. I was on call. My pager went off twice during that conversation. Each time she sighed, like the beeping was personally insulting. I tried the word no on my tongue. It came out thin. Naomi, I can't keep covering everything. She blinked. You've always said family comes first. You literally cut people open to save them, but you can't wire rent. I looked at the stack of charts on my coffee table. I thought about the med school debt I'd finally paid off 2 summers ago by living like a resident 3 years longer than I had to. I thought about the condo one of my interns lost when his landlord raised the rent by $400. And I remembered the patient who gave me a drawing of a house with my name on the mailbox after I took out his gallbladder. He'd colored the mailbox blue. That's when the idea hit me. A house. A house is stability. A house is not a handbag. A house can be a boundary disguised as generosity. I found a condo in a good, ordinary neighborhood. Not cheap, not flashy. Real. I put it in my name, intending to add Naomi after the wedding. My lawyer, bless him, said, "You sure about this, Robert?" I said yes, and I actually felt something unclench in my jaw. I did not ask Naomi's permission, because I was tired of asking permission to do the right thing. I truly thought she'd cry, the good kind of tears. I absolutely did not plan for the look she gave me when she read the street name. The look that said I had embarrassed her. 2 nights before the wedding, Naomi texted me at 1:12 a.m. Can you do $3,000 for the open bar upgrade? It's a vibe. I typed no. She sent back a single crying emoji. And then, you're so dramatic. My mother called 5 minutes later. Just send it, she pleaded. Don't ruin her mood. That was the last time I said yes before the deed at the reception. After she said, wrong area. People moved on because there were speeches to give and beef to plate. But her words didn't move. They hung over our table like a chandelier that had come loose, swinging precariously. My mother leaned in, whispering, don't frown, Robert. You're making it worse. Naomi waved at the florist. Can we put the deed away? It's killing my buzz. Evan looked at me, then at the folio in my hands, then at the floor. He didn't touch his drink. During the toasts, my uncle said I had always been a provider. He meant it as praise. It felt like a job title I hadn't applied for. The best man made a joke about the Audi being Naomi's first love. Everyone laughed. I felt that laughter in my teeth. When the dancing started, Naomi finally cornered me near the donut wall. Why would you do that without asking? She snapped. There was frosting on her wrist. That neighborhood is beneath me. Beneath you. I repeated. You know what I mean, she insisted. Evan's clients will judge. I glanced at Evan. He was staring at the string lights. We appreciate the thought, he said softly, avoiding my eyes. But we imagined something different. My mother joined them, hands clasped, voice sickly sweet. Robert, don't be rigid. You can sell it and help with a down payment somewhere nicer. It's not about money, I said, my voice dangerously calm. It's literally about money. Don't make a scene, she hissed. I pulled out my phone. I opened a folder labeled Naomi. Screenshots. Zelle receipts. Insurance payments. The lease with my signature. The Audi loan with my name. The rent transfers. The orthodontist. The crown. The florist deposit from a card she wasn't authorized to use. Each line a small, sharp fact. Naomi glanced at it, rolled her eyes, and handed the phone back. So what? You're obsessed with keeping score. No, I said, a slow, deliberate cadence to my words. I kept receipts because I'm a surgeon, and we write down what we do. Evan peered over her shoulder as if reading a chart for the first time. His face changed. You've been paying the rent? He asked quietly. Naomi laughed. Don't be naive, babe. Robert likes playing hero. Something clicked again. That quiet resolve. I looked at Naomi's bouquet. Peonies, white roses, eucalyptus, expensive. I looked at the Audi in the valet line through the glass. I looked at my sister, who truly thought the world owed her massage seats. Okay, I said, and I smiled. It was the exact same smile I give an M&M when a consultant tries to rewrite the op note. Cold. Tidy. Okay, what? She snapped. Okay, I'm done, I said. The rent transfers stop tonight. The Audi keys, please. Title and loan are in my name. I'll arrange pickup. And any balance you owe me? We'll settle it in writing, starting Monday. My mother made a sound like a kettle boiling over. You will not embarrass us. You embarrassed yourselves, I said, my voice steady. I looked at the valet through the glass and lifted my hand. He brought the Audi around. Naomi clutched her bouquet tighter. Evan said, Naomi, the keys. Naomi, I said again, calm, like asking for a clamp. She stared at me, then reached into her tiny purse and slapped the fob into my palm. You're being cruel, she whispered. I'm just being clear, I said. And I have a paper trail. I turned to leave. My mother grabbed my sleeve. You will apologize for what I said. For giving a house, for making this about you, she cried. I walked out with the Audi fob between my fingers, the deed tucked under my arm, and the strange, light feeling of a tourniquet finally released. When I got home after midnight, there was a white envelope on my doormat. No return address, just my name in careful block letters. I didn't open it right away. I showered off the sweat, the champagne spray, the faint smell of smoke from the venue's patio heaters. I folded my suit over a chair. I even ate the cake slice the caterer had slipped into a clamshell and left on my table like a pity award. It tasted like sugar and drywall. Then I opened the envelope. Inside, a single sheet of paper and a stack of printouts. The top sheet was a note in Evan's handwriting. Robert, this is from me, not Naomi. I didn't know about the rent. I didn't know about the car. I didn't know about any of it. I found these in her email drafts and screenshots. I'm sorry for what happened tonight. I'm not sure I'm going through with this honeymoon. The printouts were texts. Not to me. To my mother, to our aunt, to a florist. Rob will cover it. Just invoice him. He loves to feel needed. There was a list titled Ask Rob, with numbers next to each item. Hair, makeup, DJ upgrade, bouquet toss confetti cannons, Audi detailing. And a final line, Condo? Maybe if I cry. My hands shook in a way they never do when I hold a scalpel. My phone buzzed. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. Then Naomi texted. You are sick. You ruined my wedding. Everyone thinks you overreacted. Wait till the hospital hears. Evan texted 10 minutes later. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Are you home? I left the envelope. I'm at my brother's. I put the papers back into the envelope and slid it into a drawer. My pager vibrated. A small bowel obstruction. Life, as always, goes on. At 4:35 a.m., between orders and a consult note, I emailed my lawyer. Subject line, family. I attached a spreadsheet I'd been quietly updating for a year. Amounts, dates, notes. Please draft repayment agreement with monthly schedule. Also need to transfer car back to me, title already in my name. And freeze all automatic transfers from my accounts. At 7:10 a.m., I called my bank and terminated the recurring $2,150. I removed Naomi from my insurance. I called the dealership to schedule the Audi pickup and asked them to change the account passwords. I changed the garage code at my condo. By noon, the family group chat was a fireworks show. Aunt Mara. Rob, apologize to your sister. Cousin Leo, it's just money, man. My mother, you are cruel. My father, return the car. Now, no one said, we're sorry. She humiliated you. Not once. I screenshotted the printouts from the envelope. The list called Ask Rob. The messages to vendors to just invoice him. I posted them in the group chat without comment. Typing bubbles. Then silence. At 3 p.m., my hospital's mainline paged me. Caller for Dr. Abramson. I picked up. It was my mother. She had found the operator. Robert, she said, using the voice she used when I was 8 and had tracked mud in the kitchen. Stop this nonsense. You made a spectacle. You raised a spectacle. You're a doctor, she snapped. Doctors don't fight about money. Doctors go bankrupt all the time. I said, I'm not going to be one of them, because my family thinks I print cash in the call room. She tried a different tactic. If your father has a heart attack because of this, then he should go to the I cut her off. And he'll get excellent care from a team of professionals who don't accept donut walls as payment. Click. At 7 p.m., Evan texted again. I told Naomi I'm postponing the honeymoon. She's at your parents'. She says you stole the car. She's posting on Instagram. I opened Instagram. Naomi had posted a story, a photo of the Audi with the caption, "He took my wedding getaway car because he's a bitter little man." I screenshotted the registration in my name and sent it to her. She posted another story, "He's harassing me." Comments flooded in. Hearts. Fire emojis. "You deserve better, queen." I put my phone face down. I made pasta. I watched it boil. I thought about that moment at the mic, when she laughed, and how fast the room joined her. How easy it is to laugh when you think the person you're laughing at will still pay the bill. The next morning, there was another white envelope on my doormat. Same careful block letters. Inside, a letter from Naomi's lawyer demanding I return the stolen vehicle and make whole a $50,000 wedding gift shortfall. The letterhead was a Google Doc template. The signature was a squiggle. The return address was my parents' house. I laughed. Not nicely. I replied with a real lawyer's letter by lunchtime. It was short, boring, in the way that scares people. Dates, amounts, statutes, words like conversion, and unjust enrichment. It included a repayment schedule, $1,000 on the first of every month until the debt was gone. It gave her 30 days to sign, or we'd see each other at a courthouse where Instagram captions don't count. At 2 p.m., Evan showed up at my door. He looked like he hadn't slept. He handed me Naomi's house key. She gave me an ultimatum, he said. Either I defend her, or I'm not a man. I don't think I'm her kind of man. I made coffee. He didn't drink it. He stared at the envelope on my table. I didn't know, he kept saying. I thought you liked it. Liked what? I asked. Taking care of her, he said. I like taking care of people who want to take care of themselves, too, I said. Those are different things. He nodded. I'm sorry. You don't owe me an apology, I told him. But you do owe yourself a line. He looked at the floor. I think I found it. That night, my mother called from Naomi's phone. Return the car. Send the money. We'll forget this. We won't forget it, I said. But I will move on without your family, she asked, horrified. I thought of the night lights, the quiet in the hospital at 3 a.m. The intern who brings me bad coffee and says, "You okay?" The nurse who leaves a granola bar on my desk when I forget to eat. The security guard who nods at me when I walk to my car at dawn. Yes, I said. With my family. A month later, the condo in the cheap part of town is rented to a pediatric nurse and her partner. They put a plant on the balcony and send me a photo of the sunset, like I've never seen that angle of light. They pay on time. They love the quiet hallways and the grocery store across the street. They tell me the landlord answers texts fast. He does. The Audi sits in my garage. I drive it on Sundays to keep the battery alive. It's ridiculous and smooth and still smells faintly of Naomi's coconut perfume, no matter how many times I clean the mats. I'll sell it when the title transfer is tidy. For now, it's a trophy I don't want, but also don't mind looking at. Naomi didn't sign the repayment plan in 30 days. My lawyer filed, and suddenly her tone changed. The ring photos stopped. The stories went private. Evan moved into his brother's spare room. He sent me a screenshot last week. I'm paying my half, he wrote. Even if we don't end up married. It's mine too. His half is $200 a month. He labeled it debt. I didn't ask. He did it anyway. A line. My parents haven't visited. They sent a message through Aunt Mara. We will reconcile when you remember who you are. I looked in a mirror after a 12-hour day, wiped a streak of betadine off my cheek, and said out loud, I remember. In the hospital, nothing changed, and everything did. Appendixes still burst. Teenagers still come in with pain that is nothing until it isn't. I still char the skin until my hand cramps. I still lose patience and sit in my car afterward, staring at a steering wheel I can't make move. But the background hum, the one that said I owed the world a piece of my paycheck because I had letters after my name, went quiet. I clean my apartment now on Sundays. I cook, badly and perfectly for one. I turn my phone off sometimes. I walk to the farmer's market. The woman who sells peaches calls me doctor with the tired eyes and gives me one extra peach on days when I look like a person who needs a small, sweet thing. I do. Last weekend, a resident asked me how to say no to a family that keeps pulling. She stood in the doorway, twisting a pen, brave enough to practice surgery, scared to say a word. You say it once, I told her, and mean it. Then you say it again when they pretend they didn't hear. Does it get easier? She asked. No, I said. But you get stronger. She nodded, wrote that down like it was a pharmacology dose, and left to put in a consult. I stood in the call room, looking at the whiteboard where someone had drawn a lopsided heart around the word team. Sometimes I think about the moment Naomi held the deed up to the chandelier light and laughed. It still stings. Not because of the money, Because of the message. You are not enough unless you hand me more. That message lived in my chest for 36 years. I evicted it. The moral isn't fancy. It's not Instagrammable. It's this. I won't let anyone treat my kindness like an ATM ever again. I won't pay for my place at a family table. I won't confuse silence for peace. I will not be a walking credit line with a stethoscope. Yesterday, a white envelope showed up again. My stomach dipped. I picked it up like it might bite. Inside, a single note in Naomi's handwriting. I can't believe you're doing this to me. Mom says you'll cave eventually. No apology, no signature. I put the note in the drawer with the other papers. I made coffee. I set my phone to do not disturb. I opened the windows. The city air came in warm and a little dirty. It smelled like summer and cars and possibility. Then I walked to the hospital with steady hands, grateful for the work that tells me who I am when people try to tell me something else. And when my pager buzzed, I didn't think about wedding speeches or donut walls. I thought about the quiet moment after anesthesia when a patient squeezes my fingers and I squeeze back. And we both understand what I'm here to do. I am here to cut, to mend, to refuse what breaks me, and to keep what keeps me whole. And that includes my money, my keys, my time, and my sanity. So, if you've ever had to draw a really hard line with family, I'm curious. What happened? How did you find your strength? Or if you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Let me know in the comments below.